Takes Prison Story Family Salute. Y'all, it's your boy Tim Snow back here with another one. And today is a real shocker. I couldn't believe when I seen this right here. Very, very disappointed if you want to know the truth. I didn't take no joy in that at all. It just seems like YouTuber after YouTuber after YouTuber in this prison genre is coming out just with more and more crazy stuff, right? And this guy right here, he had me bad fooled. I ain't gonna lie. I guess he had everybody fooled. I ain't saying he's not a bad YouTuber. He's an excellent YouTuber, and he's great at what he does, right? But at the same time, we're seeing that he left out a lot of his story. And I never would have done this right here. It's not personal or anything like that, right? But when people have stories like this is what they should tell. Because what is my motto of my channel? This is not the life you want. When people that have an image of a tough guy, all this stuff, they do better by just coming out telling the hard parts, telling them how, man, it was so hard, I couldn't even make it. And that's how you help change the kids. Kids that look up to you, young men that look up to you, will be like, damn, if he had to tap out, if he couldn't make it, I better not even try it. Because when we come on and make it sound like it was no problem for us, we got through it, you can do it too. That's what the image they get in their mind. I started my channel by telling losing stories about being scared, about getting beat up, getting jumped, things like that on purpose. And I think I'm one of the only YouTubers that have stuck to the script. When this prison genre first started, everybody was saying, oh, we're going to do this to help people. We're going to do this to help people. And then quickly got away from the mission. They realized helping people don't make the money. Helping people don't get big views. Helping people's not going to get me famous. So they started going for the bloods and guts. And some of them even made things up. Some people was telling other people's stories. Some people were lying about getting slashed in the face. Man, it was so much crazy stuff being told that the fans really lost sight of reality because they don't know no better, right? They don't know no better. But this one here, Chad, everybody remembers when you first started your channel, I was the one sharing you out. I was the one helping you. I was the one glad to. I said, oh, you know what, man, this did 17 years. He's turning his life around. Let me share all this out. Let me get him going. Let me send him some fans, some subscribers. And that's what I did. Then later, I asked him, hey, bro, your channel's doing pretty good. Let me come on there with you. And he told me no. He said, no, Snow, you can't come on my channel. And I was shocked, right? I was like, what? I said, why not? He said, oh, you work with that dude in Florida, and I don't mess with that dude in Florida. You shouldn't have did that. And I'm thinking in my head, what dude from Florida? Had no idea he was beefing with no dude from Florida. Then it clicked to me. He's talking about DOC TV. And I was like, all right, you know what? Okay. Never asked again. I let the call go. And I was like, okay, cool. I got played. Helped him get his channel into position. And he told me, no, I couldn't go on his. I was thinking to myself, that ain't too real. Then later, him and DOC TV, I think his name is Josh, their beef went public for some reason. I can't remember why. But I remember myself watching the live where Chad pulled out all his paperwork and crucified this man. I mean, he crucified DOTV to the point where he stopped YouTubing for a long time. He's back now, but he stopped YouTubing for a long time. And it was all because I believe his friend had gotten murdered in front of him and he took the stand. And one thing about it, when you get labeled an informant, a snitch, a cooperator on YouTube, it almost don't make no difference. The fans don't care. Look how many people still watching Dubs, and they just found out Dubs was in SNY for 13 years. Won't even tell an SNY story to save his life and help the youth. There's been others. Savage Studio came out, said he was active Sudanio at first on Lockdown 23 and 1, then had to come back and admit he was a 2-5er, a protective custody gang member. This shit has just happened so many times, it's unbelievable. But when he crucified that man, I was like, ooh, this is hardcore right here. It was obviously personal. And then we see this on him. I'm thinking, man, if that ain't the pot calling the kettle black, I don't know what is. Right? It was unbelievable. So when I seen this, it kind of shook me to the core because I was never expecting this from Chad. Never in a day would I expect this from him at all, right? So we're gonna talk about it. And the letter I have right here is titled September 28th, 2015. And it's handwritten to the U.S. District Court Clerk in Rochester, New York. It says, Dear Clerk, please find and close my 2255 petition. I apologize that it's handwritten. Due to the content, I'm unable to type it. If other inmates see me typing things about cooperating with law enforcement, this could place me in serious danger. I was able to write in my cell along those lines. I'm requesting for my safety that the petition be filed under seal and any and all decisions related to such be sealed, basically is what it says. Any published decisions with my accessible, no, excuse me, I'm sorry, any published decisions will be accessible to the inmate population on the electronic law library, and due to references related to cooperation, 5K1, etc., would place me in danger of being seriously assaulted. Let me read that again because I messed it up. It's hard to read his handwriting. Please find and close my 2255 petition. I apologize that it's handwritten. Due to the content, I'm unable to type it. If other inmates see me typing things about cooperating with law enforcement, this could place me in serious danger. I was able to write in my cell alone. Along those lines, I'm requesting for my safety that this petition be filed under seal in any and all decisions related to such. Any published decisions will be accessible to the inmate population on the electronic law library, and due to references related to cooperation, 5K1, etc., would place me in danger of being seriously assaulted. So listen, for those that don't know about federal prison, you obviously know what cooperating with law enforcement is, right? 5K1 is something, to my best knowledge, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, 5K1 is something that's issued to you at your sentencing hearing. That means you cooperated in the investigation before you were sentenced, which normally means you were telling on your co-defendants, you helped bust some other people, or you did some other things like that, right? That's what 5K1 means. He's asking them to file his case sealed so other inmates can't see it in the law library. There is a computer in the federal law library where you can look up anything filed, any motions, any appeals, any of that. And you can search it by name. So when he went to a new prison, like they do everybody, I think it's called the Pacer computer, the inmates go in the law library and look and see what you filed, any lawsuits, any motions, any time cuts, any lawsuits, anything. And they would see what he's talking about right here. The 2255 petition is something that is a time correction type paper. It's to basically get your sentence redone, if I'm not mistaken. It's normally done soon after conviction, though. This was done later, I believe. I'm not exact sure on the date that he got convicted, but it's clear it's saying 5K1, and they would have to redo his paperwork and put it in the computer with the petition because your original case, if I remember correctly, would not be in there. Only your appeals would, or any motions filed. So they wouldn't be able to look up your original conviction when you get to the prison. I remember that. That's why paperwork was so important. A pre-sentence investigation, PSI paper, and all that other stuff. And then they would have the people on the free world look you up on the outside. But being is that it's literally obviously including a 5K1 in it, then that would be included too. So it had to be filed under seal. The rest of that handwritten note was kind of irrelevant, honestly. It was literally saying, request, please inform me as such. Thank you for your time. God bless always, Chad Marks, with his signature right there. Okay. So disappointing as hell to hear anything that he's writing about cooperating with law enforcement or 5K1. Stunned me. Stunned me because he had a 40-year sentence have no idea what he was facing to begin with. If he got a 5K one and got a 40, it had to be something like life without parole or something like that, right? Who knows? This letter right here, which is a government form, it's literally what does it say up there? Stamped with, what does it say? David G. Larimer, U.S. District Judge, Western District of New York, Rochester, New York. It says, to whom it may concern, I'm writing to you in reference to my fiance, Chad Marks, who is housed in USP Coleman 2. He's currently in a special housing solitary confinement cell at Coleman waiting on transfer. This will take 3 to 4 months to be done. I'm fearful that his life is in serious danger within a USP setting. I'm requesting that his situation be examined and he not be placed in a USP for the following reasons. On October 1st, 2008, while Chad was housed in USP Big Sandy, he was assaulted by 4 or 5 white males who claimed to be independent, non-gang members from Ohio, Boston, and North Carolina. These so-called independents wanted to assault all white gang members at USP Big Sandy in an effort to have all those white gang members removed from population. Those gangs consisted of the Texas Aryan Brotherhood members, California Aryan Brotherhood members, SAC, Soldiers of the Aryan Culture, and ARM, Aryan Resistance Militia members. Chad refused to participate in the assault, and a few days later he was on the receiving end of assault, October 1st, 2008, for failing to agree to assault the white gang members. On November 14th, 2008, a vicious assault occurred at USP Big Sandy on Aaron Pike. I believe his number to be 19875-056. He was stabbed numerous times in the lungs, face, head, back, and hands. He was on the verge of death at the hands of such gruesome assault. This assault was done by one Texas Aryan Brotherhood member, Russell Olson, and one person prospecting for the California Aryan Brotherhood member, John Pinky. Both of these individuals were convicted in federal court for this assault. These 2 individuals were housed on D-Range shoe after the assault. Hold on, let me change it, sorry. These 2 individuals were housed on D-Range shoe after the assault, along with Vernon Brooks, aka known as Dinky, the gang leader of the Texas ABs at USP Big Sandy, along with Scott Reisendorf, second in command of the Texas ABs. Now, if you've heard his stories and videos, he talks about Dinky all the time and not liking the ABTs. And here goes a letter from his then fiance detailing what they did. When Aaron was released from the outside hospital, he was housed in a cell with Chad on the same range with people who stabbed him. Vernon Brooks was housed in a cell next door to Aaron and Chad. Aaron was called out to meet with the SIA at Big Sandy at the time, and at the time, Chad was told that he was to assault Aaron when he returned to the cell. Vernon Brooks told Chad Aaron was snitching and should not be meeting with SIS by himself. Chad refused to assault Aaron based on Brooks' order. In return, Chad was threatened by Vernon Brooks, Reisendorf, Olson, and Pinky. Some of these threats were lodged in the presence of correctional officers, resulting in a separation order being placed on Chad, central inmate monitoring file with both Vernon Brooks and Scott Reisendorf, which means he was given a keep away from these guys. Additionally, the facility placed a separation on Chad with all white supremacist gangs on the facility level, as other gang members attempted to be placed in recreation cages with Chad and Aaron. So they were trying to get up in them cages with them to get them. Those members from SAC and ARM. One is being Joe Stevens, who was involved in numerous vicious stabbings, assaults on other inmates in Big Sandy. Chad was threatened with death and told the federal prison system is too small of a world, and eventually they would get him. Aaron was state placed, and as a result of this assault, Chad was transferred to USP Lee, where there are, Aaron was state placed as a result of this assault. Means they let him leave the feds. Chad was transferred to USP Lee, where there are no gang members. There was obviously enough evidence that Chad was in danger to place a separation order. There was enough evidence to place a separation order on his CIM file with 2 high-ranking Aryan Brotherhood members, or Aryan Brotherhood of Texas members. Also, enough evidence to place a separation order with all white supremacist gang members on the facility level. I feel that should have been placed on a CIM file as well. The evidence and situation dictates that my fiance is being transferred to another maximum security prison due to an incident between white and Mexican inmates at USP Coleman 2. His involvement in that incident was talking to the Mexican inmates to stop the problem from escalating. Two white inmates who lived in the same unit as my fiance were drinking homemade wine and assaulted a Mexican inmate. The Mexican inmates threatened to stab all the white inmates over the assault. My fiance, through communication and with good relationship with the Mexican inmates, was able to stop it from happening. The facility was locked down and my fiance was put in a SHU for an investigation along with 4 other inmates. My fiance did not get a misbehavior report wrote on him for the incident, but now is allegedly being transferred for his safety. My fiance will not be safe at any other maximum security prison in the federal prison system. This is the crazy part right here, y'all. It says, again, my fiance will not be safe in any other maximum security prisons in the federal prison system. USP Coleman 2 houses inmates who have resigned from gangs, cooperated with the government, or are sex offenders. The facility houses inmates who are in danger of other prisons. So he was in a protective custody prison. The Mexicans were still fixing to stab up the white boys. He politicked it out, and they were fixing to transfer him to another USP. That's the main underlying problem right here. Here's where it gets even more crazy. My fiance Chad also assisted the government with giving information on other suspects for crimes when he was arrested, and his PSI does not contain his cooperation. Although he was given no credit for his case, detailing this information is on Westlaw. Inmates in federal prison have access to electronic law. They have access to electronic law library system, and jailhouse lawyers look up other inmates. 5K1, I think that's supposed to say 5K1. Agreement cases for gang members and other disruptive groups in the prison. As you must be aware, this usually results in those inmates are stabbed, beaten, and sometimes killed. When this nature is learned, Chad made it through USP Coleman 2 as he has since lost his PSI as staff took it from him at USP Lee as BOP policy dictates. I've done some basic research of the BOP's policy statements governing such issues and have found the following. In program statement, staff may consider the following categories of inmates as protection cases: victim of inmates' assaults and inmate informants, inmates who provided information to the institution staff or any law enforcement agency concerning criminal activities by others, inmates about whom has good reason to believe the inmate's in serious danger of badly harm. I do not want to be burying my fiance over a violent death. Enclosed is a photocopy of a person who was stabbed 37 times in federal maximum prison for assisting the government. Now my fiance has 20 points under the Federal Bureau of Prisons point system and has less than 30 years on his sentence. The Federal Bureau of Prisons has a point system, and inmates with 23 or less points and under 30 years are eligible to be placed in lower security prisons, which is a FCI, aka medium. Many people who assisted the government are housed at these FCI prisons without problems or conflicts. My fiance has a clean disciplinary record for over 2.5 years. He's clearly eligible to be transferred to an FCI security prison, and that's the only security level prison he would be safe in. So again, y'all, this just shocked me, right? This literally amazed me, and I couldn't believe to read this. He's literally in his paperwork saying there's a 5K1 in law enforcement involved in handwritten paper stamped with the U.S. government seal. And here goes one from his fiance at the time saying his life's in danger due to cooperation that he told before he was even sentenced. Then she's obviously giving details on crimes and who's gang leaders and stuff while he's incarcerated. That's about as bad as it gets, y'all. I'm glad that he's changed his life out here, that he's doing good and all of that, man. But just keep it real. Just tell it like it goes, bro. Because our real, true stories will do better, right? And one thing I can say, man, is on my daughter's life, Tim Snow has never one time pointed the finger at nobody. I've never taken a stand, never dropped a kite internally, never called 911 on people. I never sat in for an interrogation like you see people do because I always knew that you have the right to remain silent. They call them lawyering up. But I was taught by older people. I was taught by big homies and a big brother that that's not what you do. But for anybody considering YouTube, always realize this internet is undefeated. And eventually, if you have skeletons in the closet, they're coming out. And it's just all it is to it, y'all. Takes Prince Story family salute.